Shh.
Battle started.
Welcome back to All Reason No Logics Beyond All Reason 1 vs 1 unfair battles, where today's match sees a newcomer, Black Death, join our 1 vs 1 unfair battles. Now, Pigz, who is usually on the unfair side of unfair, will be the more experienced player. Coming off the back of his recent first victory, he has no excuses to get his second victory here today. Who will win? We're about to find out. And I am Twig, joined here by Pradith and Bruticus, and we're ready to break down the questionable decisions that these players make.
Opposing Pigz is one of the All Reason No Logic players, Black Death. He's jumping on as relatively new to Beyond All Reason. Both are jumping in as Cortex today, and we're seeing a bot lab straight out of Pigz, so we'll see whether his early aggression stacks up. You're joining us on the Halite maze, which is a non-symmetrical, essentially 1v1 map with a lot of corridors for fighting and outmaneuvering. I like that both players going bots. The extra power of tanks is always nice, but with the maneuverability requirements of this map, bots are key. Bruticus, who do you think has the advantage this time round?
Put my money on Pigz. I love his early aggression. He's been absolutely fantastic over the last couple of weeks on building on his early aggression, and it looks like we're going to get some of that with 5 pawns coming out after his constructor. Looking over at Black Death, he's got his lab up, he's getting his first constructor up, but he is going with 2 LLTs to get off the bat. So if Pigz comes in on the wrong area of the map, he could get his attack stopped in its tracks by those LLTs.
So even with those LLTs, he's still leaving a very large gap out the back. That leaves him quite exposed, so we'll see how that one goes. I also just pointing out that a lot of this build so far has been done off of 1 solar and 2 wind, which means that Black Death is wildly energy starved, which as a new player is a very common occurrence. Balancing the eco is something which comes with time and understanding based on what the wind conditions on the map are, which are quite wind favorable this time round. 5.7% wind risk, so good numbers on wind this time.
Yeah, he's amending that now. He's getting some winds up. I'd like to see him, once he gets into the metal starve part, eating that solar once he's got enough winds up. A few more combat units he could be pushing out.
Yep. This is a huge investment into defenses early on. LLTs are very, very strong at defending, but unless you take more metal on the map, you're going to end up in a metal detriment compared to your opponent. Not to mention, any early aggression is squashed by building these LLTs. So far, it's an investment of about 350 metal, and by the time it's done, it'll be close to 420 metal invested, which is a rough amount of metal.
I don't think he's going to get this LLT up in time for this pawns, although Pigz has just stopped his push forward. Just looking at experience for those players joining, even though you can see on the bottom right-hand side of the screen, they're both ranked at 17. That's because they have not played ranked games. We're looking at probably a rank in the teens for Pigz versus rank in the single digits for Black, if you were to look at OS if they had one.
Yep.
The LLT's doing its job now.
Yep.
Is it going to be enough though? Looks like it will with that second one backing it up.
So the early aggression has been held off, but the position you put yourself in to defend like this is usually crippling over time.
What I'd like to see is if Pigz clumps up his pawns here and runs them down the side, a couple of them will make it through. You only have the second LLT firing at them for a couple of seconds, and the first one should get line of sighted pretty quick by that cliff.
Yep. I like the Lazarus getting the reclaim. However, energy. You have to pay so much attention to energy. These LLTs are not firing at full speed because of the energy. And so Pigz is
building the construction turret.
Yep. Pigz is able to is able to delete them and kill the builder. A handful of pawns ready for defense. Something which is Pigz is only just getting out of his base to build additional mexes, which means that the early game advantage still isn't too far in his favor for early metal. Any sort of reclaim should be able to offset that, at least for a short time. Pigz going in again, this time trying from a different angle, but enough LLTs to hold this one off. So considerable early donation from Pigz metal-wise, but Black Death has to be able to capitalize on that, and to do that he has to leave his base and get more of those mexes up.
Pig's only just expanding out of his base on his own with his first mechs outside of the initial 3 coming up and falling back into old habits. You can see a big wind farm built right next to each other in the base rather than putting down the blueprints. He's actually used the blueprints, but he's accidentally
built them too close to each other.
Yeah, put them right next to each other so they will chain react if he builds that big group.
Yeah. And using his comm as a build turret for the moment, only just about to grab a build turret himself.
I'm not fussed with that window. I like the fact that he's still expanding his early eco.
Yep.
He that's probably one of his weak spots as a player at this point in the game. I know it's one of my weak spots is expanding your early eco. So having that blueprint down there a bit too close, yes, but he's going to be able to take advantage of that until he is attacked.
And compared to the low wind that we've seen out of him before, definitely any wind, regardless of its orientation, is an improvement. Large amount of pawns coming in from Pigz, but Black Death has the pawns to counter this and the LLTs to back them up. He just has to react fast enough. Moment of hesitation and a change of attack vector by Pigz means that we're not going to get a run by, and Black Death's large number of pawns will take the day and give yet another reclaim field to him.
And it was good micro by Black as well. He moved that builder out of the way and put the pawns in front, so he didn't lose his builder.
Just having a quick notice of how Black Death is moving his units. He's using a shift command to run them up the line. I like that. I was a bit worried at the start of that fight because he had them all moving to a single spot, which groups them up in a very inefficient way, but spreading them out the way he did, very, very strong. Very good play.
I would love to see him push now. He's got the bigger army of the two.
Yeah, sending that army across right now would be a victory.
Yeah, Pigz has transitioned into rocket bots now, so he's doing a 1-for-1 rocket bots pawns, rocket bots pawns.
You have to be very careful fighting with rocketeers and pawns, because the rocketeers fire when they have a clear attack vector, so essentially not hitting the pawns. But if you micro the pawns, then you can run them straight into your own missiles.
What you need to do is you have a rocket bots forward, fire your shots, and then switch back into the pawns. At least then way you're not going to completely negate being shot in the ass, but less time that rocket bots can shoot the pawns in the ass.
Yeah.
And then once the pawns are relevant, put them forward, deflect the enemy's attack, and then rotate the rocket bots forward again.
Yeah. Black Death falling into the trap that most new players fall into, of being overly defensive. Right now he has the clear advantage in the game, but he is losing it every second based on Pigz's expansion and his unit composition. Pawns sitting in your own base and LLTs sitting in your own base, while they're great for defense, they're not actually doing anything for you. They're metal that could otherwise be spent to bolster your eco.
Or rushing your enemies.
Or pressuring your enemies.
Pigz has actually got a couple of pawns guarding his construction bot, so he's used to that aggression out on the map from other players, and I think that's the right move. Wouldn't stop one of Black Death's attack with all these pawns, but it's definitely better than having nothing. Yep,
a little bit of a micro mistake from Black Death. He definitely saw that builder, but didn't attack it. Though again, being like with new players, you don't expect them to actually be able to pick up on everything that pops up on the mini map. There's so much to concentrate on. For
new players, what you can do to avoid running past something like a constructor is, instead of setting a move command just by right clicking on the other side of the map somewhere, press F first. That's the fight command. So if your unit comes across another unit, it'll stop and engage it and then resume the path that you've assigned it.
Yeah.
Don't forget Quig has done a video on Fight Command, so jump onto the All Reason No Logic channel, look up the tutorial videos and the Fight Command videos there if you want a deeper analysis.
It'll be there soon. It's a short, soon to be released.
My mistake.
So we've got Black Death venturing out. He's defending all of his mexes with a single LLT. It's a very good way to defend him against 1 or 2 pawns. But if someone's sending around a pack of say 5 or 6, the LLT will do the LLTs in isolation will do very little there. They're certainly a group of units will certainly beat them, and the other thing is that by this stage in the game you would expect your opponent to have Rocketeers or something which outranges them. If they go tanks, then it could be a Wolverine or a Sheldon. Oh, sorry, not a Sheldon. That would be T2.
Definitely you would want to be using map control on your units to mitigate rushes. Not going to stop smaller ones, especially if they spread out. It's going to spread your micro out.
Yeah.
But active micro with your units across the map is far better defense than a single LLT.
Yeah. And the investment of putting a Dragon's Claw into all those units is very, very expensive and will leave your army incapable of winning decisive engagements. I want to see Black Death push all the way into this. Again, good micro going for one side of the line and pushing his way up it. He's definitely got that aspect of his micro down packed. He understands the value of having all of his units firing and less of the opponent's units firing. Another large reclaim field available for him. So even
down there now, grab it quick before Pigz tries to fight for it.
Yep, and again, another time when Pigz has just lost an engagement. Pigz' entire army right now consists of 5 pawns, 3 Rocketeers, 2 Maces, and a Centurion. In the back line, and in the front line, it's 8 pawns and 6 Rocketeers. So we definitely could see Black Death absolutely run rampant across this map if he chose to.
Definitely a good time to engage this army that's up across from his base. He's got the numbers. He can just run through it and then circle the rocket bots. And
he knows it's there from the radar.
Yep. Unfortunately, it is a trap for newer players is lack of aggression and hiding.
Yep.
Well, not hiding, but trying to form a defensive position.
Yep, clumping up the pawns like this, they're taking a lot of unnecessary damage, but with such an overwhelming amount of them, the victory is assured for Black Death, and the reclaim field exists in his territory, so he should very much so be able to take all of it. Pig's definitely a good move running this attack. Seeing units running at your base psychologically makes you want to defend it. And is preventing Black Death from pushing out. But Black Death knows that he has the LLTs and the build power to essentially ignore this, so it would be great to have him advance across the map and take the entire column of units that's heading up towards him. Fighting them as a broken up column is much less expensive than damage-wise than fighting them.
This army goes in, he might come across the commander.
Yep.
Pig's seeing that straight away, and he's
trying to rally his units back to his comm. Yep. I
do like the inclusion of the Centurion. Really good against these pawns.
Yep. Though Black Death looks like he's just going to be heading straight on down into Pigz' base. This could be game-ending damage so long as he doesn't lose too many to splitting them up around the rocks.
Not knowing where the comm is, I absolutely agree with his move. He's going to pick off a couple of mexes on the way. It looks like he's got some waypoints there.
Yep.
And then he's going to be able to get into that eco right here from what I can see of those waypoints, so it's going to be fantastic. Another thing too is he's catching Pigz right on a T2 transition, not even half done on the transition, so units are going to come out very slowly.
Yep.
He just needs that micro.
I can't see his cursor down here, so we just want to send him straight in.
There he goes. His cursor's here.
So he's taken a lot of damage running them the way he did. One of the disadvantages is not microing the units. However, he's so hard into Pigz' base. That's most of his energy, his T2 lab potentially.
If you can kill that T2 lab, that's non-refundable metal.
Yeah,
I'd be going for T1.
Lost metal.
Unfortunately, losing his army mostly to the base defenses
We've got follow-up of rocket bots, though, coming
Yep.
in now. Let's see what happens here.
So if these are put on a fight command, these will be absolutely devastating, but they're going to walk into range of those LLTs.
There
But
goes
that
the
is
T1
the
lab.
lab down, and they do have the firepower to destroy that T2 lab. So this is huge damage. Yep.
What's Pigz doing up in the north? He's actually pushing to see if he can go for black space while Black's killing his.
Black is just taking shelling damage onto those units. Pigz needs to keep his units firing away and plinking off at those health, but it's very hard to make those sorts of decisions while your base is under duress. Second army coming up from below, so Pigz is going to try to go for a two-sided attack. Black Death just losing units. This could actually be the game. That could be the game-changing amount of units lost right there. We'll see. Does he have what he needs to push through this? Absolutely runs into the D gun. Huge damage done, but that is plenty of pawns.
Energy
to take out the
down. I
Khan.
think we've got the win here with the energy down.
We do.
Bang.
Black Death taking the win.
Very good game. I enjoyed that.
So that was a bit of a back and forth, but unfortunately a loss for Pigz, and very fortunately a great win from Black Death's first 1v1. Very happy to see that.
Well done, Black. That was quite entertaining towards the end for your first 1v1 and first multiplayer game. Congratulations.
Good work, Pigz, too. The rating was great. You just couldn't quite get into there, but you were consistent, and you were slowly getting more and more map control there as well, Pigz. So that was really good.
Yep.
I like that part.
Having a quick look at the graphs, you can actually see that Pigz, your consistent eco was constantly scaling above Black Death's, but it was those reclaim fields that kept Black Death in the game early. And then it was the maintained army and numbers that pushed him over the edge. So that was a great showing out of both you guys. I actually think that only a couple of minor decisions or a couple of minor changes would have meant a Pigz victory. So well even match.
I dare say if that commander wasn't up there at the end, given there was no energy to degun, with the other army that you had, Pigz, coming up from the south, you probably would have done reasonable damage yourself. Were you surprised by that one?
Well, it's the first time I played the guy, so you know what I mean? Sometimes you can underestimate in that, and I thought I was doing okay to start with, but yeah, I maybe should have had a bit more defense, but I was trying to push. And then obviously he had a damn sight more pawns than I was anticipating he was going to have.
You had the
'Cause
perfect
obviously
unit
my
as well,
army
the
was a lot
Centurion.
more stronger.
Yeah, the Centurion
Yeah.
was great, but unfortunately he was running almost parallel to your Centurion and your feed line. He was just south of it, and he just it's simply a win by massive numbers then.
Yep. All right. Thanks everyone for
Yeah, I think
joining us. And we will catch you in the next one. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. If you've got any suggestions for us, leave them in the comments. And if you want to play a game with us, jump on into our Discord and or send us a replay for us to cast. We're always happy for the community interaction. We'll catch you all in the next one.
Have a good one.